So you think it's the evil, it's sort of like from wrong opinions or wrong beliefs and things like that that will take advantage of the energy from a deficit, kind of like a hurt place, a need, or something like that.
I think so. I mean, I'm sure with any kind of philosophical theory like this or psychological theory, it's hard to make a blanket statement that doesn't have holes to pick it apart in. So
Hmm.
I don't mean to imply that this is like the whole thing, but I think a large part of where evil comes from is I'll say a large part of where we sin even comes from like not realizing what is actually being asked of us in the moment. Like there's some experience that we are saying no to, some mark that we would have to hit and experience, and just sort of trust that we can handle this, or this is maybe not for a reason, but this is what it is. This is what's happening.
Mm,
And we can say yes to that or we can say no to that. That's kind of our free will as humans.
mm,
But when we say no to something that's present, and especially something that keeps coming back and keeps coming back,
mm,
that builds this. It's the feedback loops you were talking about. We're blocking that particular feedback loop, whatever
mm.
that is that's trying to be communicated to us, even
Yeah.
if it's like my partner died and I'm grief stricken. Like the feedback loop there is what is grief? What does it mean to be a human? What does it mean to lose love? What's the lesson of grief? What is it here to impart in what experience is it meant to impress into my soul as I'm
Mm.
growing? It's
Yeah.
very difficult and I understand. And I
Mm.
think I would even go so far as to say I think God probably builds that in. And the fact that we're able to distance ourselves from our pain is a gift from God. But that starts creating danger. And the more we try to wipe that off the map, the pain or the suffering, and we refuse to like slowly begin to take its lesson in what it's trying to tell us, the stronger we have to get to push it away, the more pain we carry. And then the more we enact that pain on other people, the more we see the world as unfair, we see the world as dangerous, see
Mm.
the world as just a reason to be angry and resentful all the time. And then we're built up with this negative charge of energy, and we have to dump that on somebody because we can't, if we were to hold it on ourselves long enough, we would have to face the fact that we are generating it by refusing our own experience.
Mm. Yeah, I've
So,
heard someone say, I can't remember what they said, but they were saying something like, don't become true friends with anyone or marry something like that who has not gone through grief because there's just a part of themselves they just don't know. There's a part of life that they don't know. And so that's pointing to the usefulness of grief.
mhm,
Getting back
mhm.
to the evil thing, yeah, I would agree that it's maybe the majority or, the vast majority of cases of people doing wrong is from, yeah, a deficit, something that they lack that they need to mature into, and something about the situation that's causing them pain that they don't understand and they don't know what's called for in the situation in terms of growth and change and adaptability and everything. And that's why they're lashing out violence, etc., in the majority of cases. But I also think there is some natural human aggression, desire to be better than others, a psychopathy that maybe enjoys the pain of others, and things like that. I do think there's that in human nature that is also sometimes called by these wrong opinions and these, unenlightened kind of things that people just use as an excuse or a reason to like kind of do what they want to do.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there you go. There's one of the holes in the theory that I was like, there's got to be some in there somewhere. Yeah, and I think you're right. Like there are psychopaths, there are sociopaths, there are those things that if you want to zoom out far enough, maybe it's a case of generations of repression culminating in someone who has something in them so suppressed they can't even, be human to that degree. They lose their
Mm.
empathy. But that's not even a helpful perspective, because then what do you do? You're like, oh well, it's their ancestral trauma. No, they're still a serial killer. Like you can't if you're going to acknowledge that it took 4 or 5 or 6 generations to distill down into this psychopathy, like how are you gonna handle 4 or 5 or 6 generations of healing? Like
Yeah.
I don't know how. We don't have the skills to do that, and I don't know if there are skills to do that. I'm thinking of like a very enlightened society, which is again very utopian. And in the meantime, we can't just let them run around and kill people because we're like, oh, well, we
Yeah,
understand where their pain is
exactly.
coming from. There
Yeah.
are monsters in the world. That's a Sherman Alexie quote. He's
Uh,
said it a few times.